Hello, and welcome to my first stream of this week, and I am going to be playing Total Extreme Wrestling 9 for you guys. And, well, first things first is that I had to explain the absence that I had been on with my channel here, and I would hate to say this, but Sunday, I had a visit from one of my family members, and who was clearly upset, and I had to have her to not be upset anymore by holding on to her. That would be my mother. Because of what happened involving with my younger sister. This is IRL stuff, by the way, just to let you guys know. But then I went on to taking a few days after that to play some Total Extreme Wrestling 9 off stream. As I would sign wrestlers over to the developmental brand. And yes, my own version of the WWE has another child company, and that's GFW. And what is GFW, you may say? It is basically Global Force Wrestling. I will show you how many wrestlers are within that promotion in due time. I did transfer some of the wrestlers that are actually in the WWE roster in real life over to Global Force Wrestling. And guess who I have in charge of the very promotion? I will show you right away. On that too. If I would. But I can't, because you know why? I couldn't show you who's in charge of the promotion, in my opinion, which, well, I don't know how to explain it. But the person in charge of my my second child promotion, outside of just the companies that are purchased by WWE, which is to be another child company of WWE, which, as a matter of fact, is none other than an uncle of mine in real life. And that IRL uncle of mine is gonna be Dave Meltzer. Yes, I put Meltzer in charge of Global Force Wrestling, not only as CEO, but also as a booker. I'm gonna have one called Manders as the travel organizer promotion. Before you ask me any further, as for who's going to be the head men's travel and trainer for GFW, I'm going to have Brody King in that position. And for the head women's trainer, I'm going to have the man Becky Lynch. Senior road agent, I don't have anyone. Literally, I have no one in that position, but that could change in due time. Senior referee, I don't have anyone. I don't have a referee there. As for head of talent relations, I had to go with Chantel Jordan. Have her in charge of that. The morale officer of Global Force Wrestling is going to be Becky Lynch. Deshaun Pratt. Janai Kai. Well, Janai Kai would have been perfect for this position, but I'm going to put Mark Kofi in along with Oliver Carter, who so happens to be Oral Menza when he was with WWE for NXT. Now for the locker room leaders, I'm going to have it to be Becky Lynch, Ayame Sasamara, Alex Windsor,
Oliver Carter, and Lance Anawahi. And I gotta go with Lance Anawahi as part of the inner circle over there. But I gotta deal with something that's within WWE, and that's for the locker room leaders. And that is by putting Bayley in with the locker room leaders like Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, Sheamus, and Seth Rollins. For Chief Enforcers, I'm going to put Adam Pearce. And for the hell of it, I'm going to put Nick Aldis there. And I'm also going to put Rhea Ripley in charge of that. Head of talent relations, I am going to have to put this with anyone that is well suited. But I don't have anyone that's well suited in this position. But I'm going to give it to Big E. I'm going to put that position, fill that position up to Big E. As for the morale officer, I'm going to give that role to John Cena. As for Stooge, which is the last role here, I'm going to let that be filled by none other than Paul Heyman. But as for senior road agent, that's not going to be Jason Jordan any further. It's going to be filled up by someone who's better. Anyways, I gotta remove Jason Jordan from the role. And I'm gonna give the role over to The Undertaker. Yeah. Senior road agent is gonna be The Undertaker. Until you have to say otherwise through the chat. If you want me to put someone else. But before streaming today, I auditioned over to the people at Chroma Shift. Yeah, Chroma Shift. I auditioned for them while I was just waiting on these contracts that I have to go through. I'm gonna have Aaron Rook to NXT. Akari is going over to GFW. Ada Catch is going to GFW. Angel Hayes is going to go over to NXT. Arata is going over to Pro Wrestling Noah. Ava Everett is going over to GFW. Ava Lawless is going over to NXT. Ayato Yoshida is going over to Noah. Bojack is going over to GFW. Kali Bravo is going over to Major League Wrestling. Che Monet is going over to GFW. And then Oscar Alube is going over to GFW. I'm waiting on Xavier Woods and Ace Austin. Oh, and I need to put one referee over to one male referee and one female referee over to GFW, and the referee I'm giving GFW for the males, for the male matches, is going to be Chad Patton. And as for the women's matches, I'm going to give that to Daphne LaShawn. Yeah, I'm going to give them Daphne. I had such an ingenious plan when it comes down to it. So there you go. I had to put 2 referees over on GFW because they don't have a referee, but now I gave them a referee or 2. The senior referee over at GFW is going to be Chad Patton. Yeah, Patton is going to be the guy over there. Now, I need to give them a road agent. So who would be better off going over there? I'm going to send Jamie Noble over to GFW and have him be the road agent. There you go. That's the road agents. By the way, Nathan Frazier needs to have his contract extended. We are planning to give him $60,000 to stay in the promotion. Michael Hayes has 52 days or something like that into his deal left. Bianca has 61 days. I am willing to extend that. I'm willing to extend Bianca's contract so she can stay put. We're not going to extend R-Truth. Yeah, we are not going to extend R-Truth when his contract expires. Okay, I'm going to extend Nathan Frazier's deal. His deal should not be expiring on my watch. And it's a good thing I got LJ Cleary when he went ahead and joined us. Nathan Frazier, I'm going to give him a 3,650 day deal over to him. Woods is going to get extended. Does Seth Rollins need an extension yet? No. Okay. Does Ray need an extension? No, not yet. Okay then. Naomi, nope. JD McDonough, he might as well. So, I'll give him that much. As for Dominic, I'm going to give him at least 2,224 days. Plus, I'm going to possibly try to turn Dirty Dom face. It's something that the promotion isn't doing just yet. El Grande Americano or Wooded Kaiser needs an extension. Okay, I'll give him that. Jacob Fatu is going to get an extension. JC Jane is going to get hers as well. Jey Uso, the Yeet Master, is going to get an extension, and so would Jimmy Uso. Like, seriously, Jimmy Uso is going to get an extension, and so does Liv Morgan. But it's a good thing I got one of Liv's friends from the old days back into the WWE, Ruby Soho. But I am not going to extend Nikki Bella. Yeah, I'm not going to extend Nikki. Because I have plans that doesn't involve with Nikki Bella. She's going to go over to a new promotion when her contract is through. And as for AJ Styles, I'm willing to extend his deal. As in the phenomenal AJ Styles of the OC. Because I already brought the OC back from the dead. And this one doesn't have Michin in it, by the way. But you get the idea. When it doesn't have Michin, in it, you get the idea. Okay. The second match. the women's U.S. title, Julia versus Chelsea Green. I'm going to have Julia win. And I'm going to let All Ego Ethan Page have a short run with the United States title before he forfeits it up at Elimination Chamber. Then we go to an I quit between Damian Priest and Berto. Which I'm going to put Damian Priest for a win. And of course, I'm going to have Roman Reigns at ringside. But guess who's going to be along with him? The Mad Dragon himself, Ilya Dragunov. Then I'm going to do a Lion's Den match. Between Shinsuke Nakamura and Tamatonga. Which would also feed families. Which I'm going to let Shinsuke Nakamura get the dub. Then we go to a First Blood Alba Fire versus Alexa Bliss. Alba Fire gets the dub. And Alexa Bliss will lose the match. And I'm going to use that creative finish that Alba Fire has. Then, of course, I'm going to have a Divas match. Between Jade Cargill and Chelsea Green. Chelsea would win, Jade would lose. And let that be a cheap finish. And I'm going to put that creative finish for Chelsea in on this as well. And then I think I have something for Candice LeRae. Let me check. Oh wait, it's for Charlotte Flair. I forgot. My bad. I'm gonna go for a title unification. Which would be Charlotte Flair versus Alexa Bliss. Wait, did I say Alexa Bliss? I meant to say Julia. My god. I messed up, didn't I? Let that end in a pinfall. All Ego Ethan Page, the winner of the Men's Royal Rumble, set to face either Damian Priest for the Undisputed WWE Championship or CM Punk for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But Ethan Page is not alone to enforce his decision. Members of the Green Regime, Alba Fire, and the leader herself, Chelsea Green, are by his side to make his decision for WrestleMania 42. He chose to go for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship held by CM Punk. Green and Fire reinforced that if Ethan does win the title at WrestleMania, they will go to Raw with him. Then, of course, we go to a bout between Alba Fire and Alexa Bliss. And a bout that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but with support wrestling, Alba Fire defeated Alexa Bliss in a first blood match when Alexa Bliss was busted open. In a decent match, Charlotte Flair defeated Julia in 19 minutes and 28 seconds by pinfall. The match was designed to work the crowd. Charlotte Flair makes defense number 1 of the WWE Women's. Charlotte Flair also wins the Women's United States Championship. In a bout that had decent reaction from the crowd at Table Wrestling, Chelsea Green defeated Jade Cargill via countout. In a decent match, Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Tama Tonga in a Lion's Den match in 22 minutes and 20 seconds by submission. In a bout that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling, Ethan Page defeated Matt Cardona in 17 minutes and 52 seconds with an ego's edge. Ethan wins the WWE United States title. In a bout that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling, Damian Priest defeated Berto in an I Quit match in 17 minutes and 43 seconds by a submission. Damian Priest makes defense number 1 of the disputed WWE title. In a decent match, Damian Priest defeated Drew McIntyre in 21 minutes and 55 seconds by a pinfall with a South of Heaven. Damian Priest makes defense number 2 of the undisputed WWE title. At the end of the show, at the end of SmackDown, way to go, Damian Priest. Way to go, Damian. He punished Drew and Berto both on the same night. Now, we gotta go straight to Monday Night Raw. Even though Rhea is going to be challenging Charlotte Flair for her title. We're doing the entirety of February all in one go. And possibly a bit of March, too. We're going to go to WrestleMania. I already had the main events for both WrestleMania 42 booked. For night 1, it's going to be Rhea versus Charlotte. There. I had to change that. Like, revert it to Charlotte Flair. And as for this title, the 24/7 title, I am vacating it. So, Nikki Cross had held it for so long. But now, I'm going to have it to go to someone new. And that's going to be Buddy Matthews. Yes, it's going to be Buddy Matthews, who is out with a torn Achilles. At the current moment. At the current time. But he'll be out until April 16th now. Because I gave him surgery on the Achilles injury. Melinda Washington. Where do I want to put her in? Oh, I know. I'm going to put her in GFW. Welcome to GFW, Melinda. Welcome to Global Force Wrestling, Melinda. Plus, I'm gonna have to say that there's no intention of putting Blake Monroe into the main roster yet. Because I'm gonna call up someone before I would call her up. And that someone is none other than the former NXT Women's Champion, Tatum Paxley. Yes, I did say Tatum Paxley. You know that, right? I am going to call her up. Norberta Bragger wants to be in a promotion since he graduated. Very well, go over to NXT. Now, I'm going to show you the training facilities that we have here. Because we gotten a new one, which is the Alberta Performance Center, which is for Alberta in Canada. Melinda was from the England dojo. And Norberta was from the Western Europe dojo, which we have dragged investment into it. And now we're going to invest into another dojo. This one in New England. For an automatic reasoning. Or maybe put it in the southeast. Yeah, I'm gonna invest into the southeast with a dojo. There we go. That's better. I just wanted to do that. And then I'm going to go to the sandbox editor just to do something with that. Oh, and I'm going to take over the My Gold Dojo. But that's not all. I'm also going to take over this dojo as well. The Pro Wrestling Noah Dojo. I'm taking that as well. So I would take over both. Let's see. I'm going to have the take future personality and also take future color commentator and future play-by-play. Prodigy, healing factor, movie and TV star, I'm also going to give myself future road agent. And there you go. All that would be me. Right there. Where's Tatum? Oh, that's right. As for me, I am not gonna need to get called up right at the moment. Right now, we're heading to Monday, February the 10th. Yes, February 10th. And the loan period for Stephanie Vaquer is done. For AAA. But we could give her. We can give her to AAA again if we want her to. But still has that contract that is expiring soon. I'm going to extend Vaquer's contract for an to 3,650 days, even though she is currently the women's world champ. At the moment. Oh, and I am going to release Raquel Rodriguez from her contract. Goodbye, Raquel. But that means we gotta get somebody in her place to take over in her stead. And that would mean as to who would go over to the Judgment Day now. That would be the now former leader of the group that is known as Fatal Influence, JC Jane. Yes, JC Jane is going to be the new member of the Judgment Day. So there we go. Former NXT Women's Champion twice, Jacy Jayne, is now member of the Judgment Day, as she would join Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez in the post Raquel Rodriguez era of the Judgment Day. We don't have anything for pre-booking. Okay, then. With Raquel no longer in the plans here, I have Jacy Jayne taking her place in the Judgment Day. And I'm going to have the OC winning this one. The Original Club taking down the Judgment Day in the first match of the evening, which will last 30 minutes long. Then, of course, we will have a tag team match. Set for one fall. Between Lila and Bailey and JC Jane and Liv Morgan. Bailey is to pin Liv or flash pin Liv. Then, of course, we're going to have another tag team match set for one fall, and it will be for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky taking on against JC Jane and Roxanne Perez of the Judgment Day. You heard me correctly. Roxanne and JC. And of course, the one who's going to be doing color commentary throughout this whole match is going to be John Cena. The "you can't see me" guy. You know, that by now. I'm going to have John Cena do color commentary for Raw. I'm going to have Liv getting injured because, well, that is my idea, by the way. Then, of course, we're going to do a ambulance match. CM Punk and Dominic Mysterio. And I'm going to let that be for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which CM Punk would retain against Dominic Mysterio. AJ Lee would be interviewing Dominic because I have intention for AJ Lee to attack Dominic during the match. During the ambulance match. Then we go to an Iron Man match, which I'm going to put AJ Styles against his old friend Finn Balor. AJ Styles will defeat Finn Balor. Let it go all out. Pinfall finish. I'm just wanting to let that cook. Let that freaking cook. Then I'm also going to do a light tube match where it's going to be between Rey Mysterio and the former World Heavyweight Champion Gunther. Gunther hasn't been used since January 26th, when Gunther defeated Rey Mysterio and Bronson Reed in a match. Essentially a hardcore match, and I'm going to have Rey Mysterio get his vengeance on Gunther. But they wouldn't let me do that one. I'm going to do is let this be a technical masterclass aim here. Because next week he will face Dominic Mysterio. And then we go to a Buried Alive match to finish off the evening. And it's going to be between the young OG, Javon Evans, as he faces off against a returning Chad Gable. Of American Made. Javon will win. Wait, no. We're going to do is a cage escape. Javon wins. The match would end in a cage escape. Your boy is bouncy. See what I mean there? Okay, let's go to the episode for February 9th. Shall we? Raquel Rodriguez is sacked from her contract, and with all due reason, with a strong void in the Judgment Day. The void is eventually filled by a birth month buddy of Liv Morgan's, JC Jane, the former leader of Fatal Influence for NXT. Two-time NXT Women's Champion and two-time NXT Women's Tag Team Champion. Then we go to a 5v5 matchup, which is a mixed gender matchup here between the OC, AJ Styles, Bayley, Anderson, Luke Gallows, and Era Valkyria versus the Judgment Day of Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, JC Jane, Liv Morgan, and Roxanne Perez. And it ends with a result with AJ Styles pinning Dominic Mysterio with a phenomenal forearm. Then we go to a modern cage match between, a cage escape match between Javon Evans and Chad Gable, which would end with Gable losing to Javon Evans when Javon Evans escaped the cage. Then, of course, we have Finn Balor versus AJ Styles in a two out of three falls match, in which AJ Styles defeated Finn Balor by 2 falls to 1. And then we go to JC Jane versus Liv Morgan in a bout that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Valkyria and Bayley defeated the Judgment Days, JC Jane and Liv Morgan in 21 minutes and 21 seconds when Bayley beat up Liv Morgan so badly that the referee had to stop the match. Bayley carried the match in terms of in-ring performance. In a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, Rey Mysterio got his revenge on Gunther by defeating him via pinfall with a 619 into a seton with a seated senton for 22 minutes and 37 seconds. And then we have the ambulance match between CM Punk and Dominic Mysterio and about to had a decent heat, had good heat and decent wrestling, CM Punk defeated Dominic Mysterio in an ambulance match at 17 minutes and 43 seconds when Dominic Mysterio was trapped in the ambulance. During the match, we also had AJ Lee run in and attack Dominic. CM Punk makes defense number 2 for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. CM Punk would sustain a broken eardrum in the match. And then we go to what we're going to have next week on Raw. Dominic goes on the attack against his deadbeat dad, Ray, until Adam Pearce had enough of the shenanigans between father and son and schedules a match between them for next week. And then we have Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, also known as Rio, against the Judgment Day's JC Jane and Roxanne Perez. Which would result with Rhea Ripley pinning JC Jane with a riptide. The match was designed to lifting the cloud. Rio makes defense number 5 of the women's tag team titles by defeating JC Jane and Roxanne Perez. Like, wow. That would have been a good show for Raw. But it wasn't. That would have been a good episode of Raw if I ever seen one before my eyes. But nope, it really wasn't. It would have been a good one. But in all actuality, it really isn't a good one. And now we're going to simulate to Friday. To the next episode of Friday Night SmackDown. Because I'm going to have All Ego Ethan Page doing open challenges after defeating Matt Cardona for the next few weeks. Especially when it comes to Bad Blood. Bad Blood, there's going to be an open challenge for Ethan Page's United States title. And speaking about Ethan Page, speaking of Matt Cardona, he will join the Green Regime before Elimination Chamber. But here comes the deal for Nathan Frazier, which he would accept. Paul Gumble, who is a recent Can-Am Wrestling School graduate, is going over to Global Force Wrestling with his contract and with his travel costs covered. In his graduation, he's going over to GFW, also known as Global Force Wrestling. But now we're going to head towards Friday. After we did hire one more wrestler, one more generated officer into one of our child promotions. I swear, if we get any more of those generated wrestlers, I'm going to put them into NXT. Shut the game up. Here we go to Friday, and we have 2 more graduates. That's going to be going over to somewhere. First, the Battle Arts Academy graduate, Francine Bergeron, over to NXT. And then we have Ambrose McKing, who's also a graduate of the Battle Arts Academy, and he's going to go over to NXT. For the next episode of SmackDown, they're gonna go over to AT&T Center in San Antonio, Texas. Ethan Page's first challenge for the United States title is going to be Jason Jordan. Originally, you would say, Maruga, why is he going to challenge Ethan Page for the title? It's because he wants the United States title. And let that be the reason. Then we go to a street fight. Jordan Grace versus Chelsea Green. Jordan Grace would defeat Chelsea in the match. Oh, wait a minute. I would have to make that a 1v1. And it's going to be turned into a brawl between Jordan Grace and Alba Fire. And I'm going to have Nick Aldis saying this by saving the winner of the match between Jordan Grace and Chelsea Green by saying, Alba Fire, if you put another finger on Jordan Grace, you are suspended. And then I'm going to have All Ego Ethan Page defend the title yet again against a member of the Wyatt Six. And the member of the Wyatt Six that he's going to face is Uncle Howdy. Yeah, Uncle Howdy of the Wyatt Six comes up next against Ethan Page. And it's for the same title. And let that be right after Ethan Page defeated Jason Jordan. Oh, and I'm going to have a last man standing match between Damian Priest, the undisputed WWE champion, and Drew McIntyre. Yeah, Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre for the main event. Last man standing, Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. I'm calling it as I see fit. Last man standing, Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. Damian Priest would win that one easily, hands down. Sports entertainment. Another match involving Ethan Page, and he will face off against Montez Ford of the Street Profits, in which Ethan Page would defeat Montez Ford. Another United States title match was issued between Ethan Page. Yeah, Ethan is going to have a busy schedule tonight. Yeah, and a busy schedule tonight. And then we go to the Fight Pit with another match involving All Ego Ethan Page and Carmelo Hayes. Metal don't miss. Like, are you sure Ethan Page is going to take him on for the United States title as well? And then we have another United States title match, of course. This one being a cage match under classic rules. Ethan Page versus Jacob Fatu. Yes, Jacob Fatu and Ethan Page. All Ego would defeat Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf, will defeat the Samoan Werewolf. For another title defense. So yeah, Jacob Fatu would lose in a title defense to Ethan Page. But we're not done with the booking just yet. I have another match that would be booked, and it's an I Quit match. And it's between Ethan Page, yet again, surprisingly. I know. I am going to have Ethan Page versus Cody Rhodes in an I Quit for the WWE United States Championship. So we're going to have 6 title defenses in a row for Ethan Page. Yeah, 6 title defenses in a row between Ethan and for Ethan. And then to finish off the scheduling, I'm going to have Tiffany Stratton and she's going to take on Charlotte Flair for the Women's United States title. And which would end with Tiffany Stratton winning the title against Charlotte Flair. Damian Priest would go to make it title defense number 3 for the undisputed WWE title by defeating Drew McIntyre. And yeah, we're not going to renew Gabe's contract when it expires. So we're going to have to prepare a pink slip just to fire Gabe. And that's what's going to be going on here. There's going to be a pink slip for Gabe, and he's going to be fired ahead of his contract expiring. His contract expiry. And then we're going to have to put a new road agent into NXT. And I'm not going to have the Undertaker go over there. He is the senior road agent for the WWE after all. Oh, look at that. Another graduate. Tamara Lubowski from the Dragon Pro Academy. I'm going to put her in NXT. I had to move Aigo Blanc or Elia Lafleur to the southeast from France. Caddy Armstrong is currently in a title defense number 2 of her WWE NXT Women's Tag Team Championship with Carmen Petrovic. Lola Vice is currently the Heritage Cup champ. We have Joe Hendry as the new WWE Speed champ. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I mean, like, seriously, I believe in Joe Hendry. Hank and Tank not getting anywhere near a title at the moment. Who are champions at this point in time? Jackson Drake is the NXT television title holder. And he had only one title defense already. Like, what the heck is going on here? Jada Parker is the women's North American champ after defeating Tatum Paxley for it. Kendall Gray is the women's television champ still. Nico Vance is currently the NXT. Osiris Griffin and Saquon Sugars is the NXT Tag Team Champs. Sean Spears is currently the and the NXT Universal Heavyweight Champ. Soluka is the NXT Women's title holder after defeating Tatum Paxley for it. Timothy Primetime is still holding on to the NXT North American and Heritage Cup Championships. And we have Zarya as the NXT Women's Universal Champ. In just 33 days of her reign. Now we are prepared to call up Tatum Paxley. Tatum's going to Raw. Ruby's going over to SmackDown. I'm going to have Liv to go face at Backlash. Cutler James is currently on the remaining days of his deal. And he's in NXT. Okay. NXT. Gotta go to Cutler. He has to get a new contract. A handshake deal. Exclusive handshake of $600. Because we can't afford to lose Cutler. Even while Saquon and one of the others over on Dark State is still the tag team champs. Tatum Paxley is already over on the main roster. after she lost 2 titles. 2 titles. I am preparing a face turn for Liv Morgan for at the next stream for TEW 9, which is going to be for Backlash. Oh, and I'm going to have Fastlane to be moved into July. I am actually not joking around with this one, and it's going to be in Canada too. Where in Canada, you may ask? The Scotiabank Center. And that's going to be the day before Evolution. Fastlane is back from the dead, just like with Bad Blood. I'm going to give Brock Lesnar 6 weeks off. That would be until March 30th for him. So, let's go to Raw. And we got something for Gunther. So, I'm going to begin with Gunther taking on someone. I'm going to begin with Gunther taking on Javon Evans. And it's just like from the Last Time Is Now tournament. And Gunther would defeat Javon Evans. And I forgot to apply a creative finish for him because I have one for Gunther. Creative finish. Bit of a gamble. This can only be applied to matches where Gunther is set to be the victor. We're going to set that for this match between him and Javon Evans. Then, of course, we have another match, and this one's going to be Dom and Ray. The father and son. will be facing off after Gunther and Javon, which would end with Gunther getting the dub in that match. Then we go to a 2v2 match. Rhea and Io, okay, versus JC and Liv. Rhea defeats Liv again. And that match is going to be set for one fall. And it would be a typical Divas match. Though, as well. And Rhea and Io will get another title defense out of it. And then we're going to go with a Hell in a Cell match. Yeah, we're going to have a Hell in a Cell between AJ Styles and Julius Creed. We're going to use the big gamble on AJ getting the match win. Oh, wait. He can't do it because you know why? He would get injured. Okay, then. I was going to have AJ Styles take on Julius Creed, but then it really hit me that he doesn't want to do that match. That AJ Styles doesn't want to do that match. So, let's see. I'm going to have Dragon Lee take on Brutus Creed. And it's going to be for the WWE Intercontinental title. Which Dragon Lee would sadly lose that title to Brutus Creed. And that's just after Rio versus the Judgment Day. JC Jane and Liv Morgan. And then we are going to have a match, alright? And it's going to be for the women's world title between Stephanie Vaquer and JC Jane. JC won't get the win because Stephanie Vaquer will take it. La Primera will end on top over JC. Yes, I do mean La Primera. Stephanie Vaquer will win against JC Jane. And then we're going to have another match. It's going to be a different sort of match, alright? It's going to be Bayley as she will take on the Women's Intercontinental Champion. No, not Rhea. Well, she's going to take on Lyra's tag team partner from NXT, who has been called up to the main roster, Tatum Paxley. And I'm going to set Bayley to lose and Tatum Paxley to win. Yes, Tatum Paxley will beat Bayley. But then we're going to have a 3v3 street fight. And it's going to be the Usos, Jay and Jimmy, with AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and from the division, Logan Paul. Which will end with the Usos and AJ Styles taking the dub. Okay, a 3-on-3, which would end with the Usos and AJ defeating Dominic, Finn, and Logan. Then, of course, we're going to have another match. A 4v4 elimination match. JC Jane, Liv Morgan, Asuka, and Kairi taking on against Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Tatum Paxley, and Stephanie Vaquer. The first elimination is going to be JC Jane. The second will be Stephanie Vaquer. The third elimination is going to be Kairi Zane. The fourth is Tatum Paxley. The fifth is Asuka. Who's going to be number 6? Io. And then the 7th will be Liv Morgan. Now let's go through with this. Rio gets defense number 6 already of the title, while Rhea gets to sustained cracked ribs. And JC got heat for it backstage, but after injuring Rhea. Rhea would be back on February 23rd. And look at the popularity dropping for WWE after that one. Cutler James's contract is accepted and he will stay in NXT. Now, to go through another 2 days. Let's see, I gotta do something, of course, and that's gonna be through absences. Does Rhea have to get surgery for her injury? Nope, she doesn't. Okay. She doesn't need a surgery. For the ribs. Nathan Frazier came with an idea. But we're gonna actually have whoever defeated Charlotte Flair lose her title right away and give it to Bianca Belair. Bianca hasn't won a singles title for how long exactly? I'm gonna be looking through her title history. Since 2023, nearly 3 years ago, Bianca hasn't won a title. So, okay, I'm going to have Tiffany versus Bianca. Bianca wins, and Tiffy loses. Just to get things started for the Women's United States title to go changing hands. Then I'm going to have Damian Priest take on All Ego Ethan Page for the United States title, in which Damian Priest will defeat Ethan Page. Title change time. Damian Priest takes back his title that he lost to Matt Cardona to Ethan Page, from Ethan Page to Damian Priest. So that means Damian Priest would get his third reign with that title. Then we have Damian Priest versus Aleister Black. Undisputed WWE title on the line. Priest versus Black. Table finish. And it will be 27 minutes long of a match between Aleister Black and Damian Priest. Damian Priest would be booked twice that month. And then we get a time limit match. 15 minutes. Carmelo Hayes. JC Mateo. Melo will bounce back from after a loss that he had sustained. And then, of course, we're going to have tables, ladders, and chairs. Ilya Dragunov. Drew McIntyre. And Dragunov will defeat Drew McIntyre. And then we go into a ladder match. Charlotte Flair, Chelsea Green. For the WWE Women's Championship. And I really don't care what the result is from that. And I'm gonna do a post show match. To add for good measure. And it's going to be Nia Jax and Julia. But there's going to be a pre-show match as well. And it's going to be the Motor City Machine Guns getting involved. As they will face off against Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy of the Wyatt Six. The Motor City Machine Guns would become champions again. As in the WWE Tag Team Champs once more. Defeating the Wyatt Six. In a poor pre-show match, the Motor City Machine Guns defeated the Wyatt Six in 21 minutes and 10 seconds when Alex Shelley pinned Joe Gacy with a Made in Detroit. The Motor City Machine Guns are the new WWE Tag Team Championship holders. And Chris Sabin sustained a hyperextended elbow in the match. And then we have Carmelo Hayes versus JC Mateo in a bout that had decent wrestling but didn't have much heat. Carmelo Hayes defeated JC Mateo via pinfall with a Fedora frog splash. In a decent match, Drew McIntyre was defeated by Ilya Dragunov in a tables, ladders, and chairs match when Ilya Dragunov retrieved the item. In a decent match, Bianca Belair defeated Tiffany Stratton via pinfall with a kiss of death. Bianca Belair wins the WWE Women's United States Championship. In a bout that had decent reaction from the crowd but terrible wrestling, Damian Priest defeated Ethan Page via pinfall with a South of Heaven. Here's your winner and the new WWE United States Champion, Damian Priest. Charlotte Flair retains against Chelsea Green. And Damian Priest defeats Aleister Black again. What?
Are you streaming?
Yes.
How much longer? Okay. Come see me in my room when you're done.
Alright. And then we have Julia defeating Nia Jax via pinfall in a post-show match bout. Hyperextended elbow for Chris Sabin. He'll be out for 30 days. So that would be okay. For Sabin because he's out. With Chris Sabin out with an injury, you know what that means here. The Motor City Machine Guns are back as champions. Before Bad Blood. And Damian Priest is starting to rule Friday nights. With the United States title his after defeating All Ego Ethan Page and retaining his own title, the undisputed WWE title. Is anyone going to go over to the main roster or something like that after Tatum Paxley? Well, let's see. No. No one is going over to the main roster. But I do have some more contracts that need to be signed on the bottom line. And one of them is for personality Kelly Kincaid. But that's not all. AB1 just decided to cancel their broadcasting deal with WWE SmackDown. But we are going to sign another female wrestler. We gotta sign a female wrestler. A cisgender female wrestler who is currently a free agent or something along those lines to replace Tatum Paxley. And that's going to be Aria Blake. We gotta get Aria for the women's division. But we got Bad Blood. But we're going to be streaming Bad Blood on the next stream. So, I'm going to go to transition really quick. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my stream.